right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHCR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 213-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live to the Scriptural Discussion with the son-of-man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, thank you, baby, the most merciful, the truthful, and the most just. I greet all of you once again who are within the sound of my voice. Thank you. With the greeting words of peace from the God of peace. May Allah's peace be unto you all. May Allah's salam alaikum. We we want to talk to everybody as usual, but I have a special message for those who say they believe in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Sir? Yes, sir. Thank you. We also want to say that the gentleman who was posting an invitation on the website and viewing us Wednesday for me to come into his forum Saturday morning is supposed to come in tonight, because as I said, I need to know that this is not someone just, like the other Bishop Sparks had to come in and correct someone who was misrepresenting him in some posts that they made. And so since I'm here and I'm available, I don't have an aversion to talking with people. Then when you want me to come someplace, you can do like I do. You notice I say everything that I have to say in the way of teaching. I say it publicly. That way, if someone misrepresents something that I said, there are lots of witnesses that know what the truth is. So what's his name, Brother Jamar? Mr. Robinson. So we're expecting him to come in at any point and give us the invitation, and you will hear me accept his invitation. And if he wants to question me some right now, he can feel free to do so. As Brother Yakeem just reminded me that I had said that the first 15 minutes, I wanted to allow people who might have a bone to pick with us or whatever before I get into a subject. That way I don't have to fuss them out by asking me a question that didn't have nothing to do with what I was talking about. Excuse me, this evening I'm not, I don't feel as rested as I normally would, but that will pass. So is anyone had something they wanted to unmute your phone by pressing *6? And if you have some disagreement with me, I'm willing to discuss it with you. I think I need to show you something else that I found. That you know, people can tell you anything. I remember when I was kind of, you know, just talking with one of the brothers, and you know, we hear people say things all the time, and depending on your level of consciousness, you may not, and when I say your level of consciousness, that's just another way of saying your level of understanding. That's what I mean by level of consciousness. You know, as you notice, if you look at a man who's asleep and a man who's unconscious and a man is, you would think that if you didn't look close, you would think that they were all the same, right? Because even the unconscious man and the man that's asleep and the man that's dead, they have in reality, all of them are pretty much unconscious. And so one may be in a coma and is not evidently conscious of what's going on around him. One is asleep and is not evidently conscious of what's going on around him. And one is dead, and unless you know something I don't, he don't know what's going on around him either, right? So depending on your level of consciousness, people can talk to you and say things even about you, and you don't even know that they're talking about you. Do you understand? So I remember this when I was, you remember the little clip I showed you from the movie Brother John, where Sidney Poitier was the star, and they was in the racist, the openly racist South. You know, it's just like, I was riding behind this fella today. He was in a Louisiana truck, and I saw the Confederate flag on his. He had a little Confederate flag on his window there, and most of us, we don't give it a second thought. Black people don't. But to see you, white people, I want you to understand something. The reason you all get away with insulting us like you do It's because of what that movie, Brother John, when the white sheriff went into the black man's house and just walked in there and told him that, well, he had a cigarette and he looked around for an ashtray and he didn't see none. He just threw it down on the floor and put it out on the floor in the black man's house. And he said, now this was a movie, and save all the phony indignation. I don't want to, you ain't got to be frowning up and all that, because if you really felt in your heart that was something worth frowning for, you'd have been frowning before I said it. You wouldn't have to get angry. You'd already be angry. So stop putting on. Learn the lesson. Learn to listen. And if you learn to listen, then you will understand that getting angry and mad over a situation, that is the shallowest thing. That is for the shallowest mind. Watch a child. It don't take nothing to make them mad, to get them upset. Because what? You know why he reacts so quickly? Because he don't know nothing else to do. So, but anyway, the sheriff was talking to John, and John's sister's John's sister's husband tried to take it up. The sheriff was talking to John and said, we don't, in so many words, we want to know what you here for. And the other one, the dead man, when I say dead man, I'm talking about John's sister's husband and John's sister. He said, he's a guest in my home. And he said, now, the sheriff looked at him and said, now, there, Thomas, whatever his name was. I'm talking to John here. He said, you get out of my house, cracker. And the sheriff looked at him and said, don't you work down there for Mr. Johnson at the mill down there, boy? And he said, I'm talking to you, Thomas. Don't you work down there at the mill for Mr. Johnson? He said, yes. He said, well, you want me to tell Mr. Johnson that you're not cooperative with the law? And so Thomas kind of dropped his head. And then the sheriff told him, he said, you can be replaced by any Negro with a strong back and a weak mind. Now, most folks that see that kind of movie get insulted if they're black. But they don't learn anything. The first thing you should have wanted to know when you looking at something like that is, what did he mean, a weak mind? I know what a strong back is. With physical strength and a weak mind. Well, how your mind is weak? Well, for one thing, he mistreats you openly and is unapologetic for it. And you satisfied to leave yourself in a position where all you can do is get upset and your feelings hurt about it and take your mouth out, which tells him that your mind is about as strong as one of them 5-year-olds. You didn't even have the enough strength. Knowledge is power. What is another word for power? I didn't hear you. Strength. To be strong is to be knowledgeable. To be weak is to be ignorant. You got to learn. You got to learn a new language, man. It's called English. Now, how does he know you have a weak mind? Because he's been in charge of your education and he have not taught you anything that would strengthen you to the point where it's and undo the effect of the indoctrination of slavery. He's listening to me now, and he's welcome to come in here and correct whatever I say. But you notice he don't come in here and say nothing to me about racism. He does that to you because he knows that the arguments that most of you, matter of fact, all of you, that you put up is basically arguments that you either got from him or you heard from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If you say something that makes some sense, but you don't understand how to defend what you're saying, you just quoting him. And so when he backed you in the corner, you do like Munir did. You start talking about how embarrassed you are, and you didn't know that was there. And that was him talking, and that was just, I mean, but don't you make no mistake. I ain't got no beak on me, and you don't see no wings on my back either, and with different colored feathers. So I know I don't look like no parakeet to you. So he gave you a weak mind, a mind that was only functional as a servant to him, but never as a benefit to you and your own people. The first thing you need in order to be a benefit to your own people is love in your heart for your people, which you don't have. All over America, you go through all of that lip service, but you don't have no love for your people. You need to hear what some of those white people say when you get all indignant over a white police officer killing a black man. And then you get all indignant, want to go burn people's stores down and all that kind of stuff. And they know you fronting, because when you see one of your own kill your people, you don't get upset. You don't get enraged. You don't show no indignation and say, we gonna bring this so-and-so to justice. Now watch what happened when some white person killed white people. They don't go crying about it. They go get him. And they don't rest until they do get him. And bring him to justice. I'm not saying take revenge on him. Even that man that killed that police officer, they caught him. I'm not going to tell you how they did it. But because I done already told you and you don't pay attention. You know, they got a song in church say he sits high and he looks low. Yeah, I like that song. You don't have to tell everything, you know. But anyway, I want to tell you, why don't you copy? You wouldn't have all them drive-by shootings and babies getting shot down because some fool riding by in a car ain't barely might be 22 years old, using your community for the OK Corral. And you out there call yourselves fathers and got nerve enough to be mad at me. Because when you come in here, I talk to you like a man. And you got all these babies out here you done produced and ain't got no control over none of them. You raising up a bunch of murderers. Then to have you winning your jaws at me. If Aaron, one of my sons, was out there doing that, you wouldn't have to go get him. You'd have to get in line because I'd be the first one out there. I brought him here. And if that's how you gonna do, no, you not. People should fear. Even that man that was sniping and whatnot, he was afraid, hiding. He knew they was coming after him. You got people that shoot your neighbors down right around the corner, ain't hiding. And you call yourself men and women? But let's get back to this. So you know, you like to claim you're not responsible. Ability, whether you realize it or not, when you did that Emancipation Proclamation, said you freed the slave. The mere fact that you take credit for freeing him is you taking responsibility. How could you free him? Because you was holding him, right? Yeah. You don't want to have that conversation. Because what goes along with freedom? You haven't freed the man until you help him undo the damage that you did. You still got an outstanding debt, right? You know, now, Now, some of y'all that look like me, you ain't interested in being free. You just want stuff. Give you some money and give you a car and give you a house and give you all the stuff that you see white folks have. You satisfied. You don't want none of this earth that you can call your own to build up for yourself and sit around the table as a sovereign nation. I hear these people sitting up talking about sovereignty and whatnot. If you want sovereignty, how come you didn't join with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and really establish yourself as a people? You just want to talk that talk. You don't want to walk the walk. You don't see no bunch of folks riding up and down the streets in America with swastikas on their window. Now, I'll grant you, the Nazi Party, they got a lot of things going, but you don't see them riding up and down the street with swastikas on their windows and stuff. Because that would offend people who do love each other. That would offend people who do have a means of retaliation and redress to something like that. You can say what you want about the Jewish community, but they don't stand still for you messing over their people. And they don't go out and burn nothing down. They might blow it up, but they don't go out there throwing rocks and bricks and stuff. If they make war on you, they make war. And they got their own country. They call it Israel. Huh? They're friends with America, but they will tell America, you don't dictate to me. Huh? You know, we friends. And there are people who have dual citizenship in Israel, America. But they know they got a country they can go to. Huh? You know, I'm trying to get you to see that you playing these little games and you run the Negro and used to get mad when I remember knocking on your door and saying, hey, black brother, I ain't your black brother. I ain't your black sister. It took a long time to get you to accept being called black. I ain't forgot. You want to play like you always was black and proud. The Muslims gave you that. Who you gonna give credit for that? Black brother? You know, I'm sick and tired of hearing y'all dancing all around the subject and acting like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't impact you. Everybody that's running around here sticking their shoulders up and holding their head up and talking about they black and proud and that they gonna do for self and all of that came from the Muslims. The Muslim followers who were carrying out the program and sharing with you the doctrine that they all got from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, including Malcolm X. So you through disrespecting him, you through disrespecting his memory. You through disrespecting Jesus, you through disrespecting Muhammad, you through disrespecting all of God's messengers. Now, I know there's always somebody who don't believe fat meat greasy. So you come on in here and so I can show them that you come on in here and let fly out your mouth some old crazy talk about God's messengers tonight. And since I ain't nobody, that ought to be a simple thing for you to do. Here, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said a lot of things that a lot of y'all who claim it's been 15 minutes, ain't it? Huh? Past 15. Well, then I'm gonna go on and teach. I want you to hear something. Now you listen to this. See, you've been letting people just get away with selling you fried ice cream. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me see which one this is. Yeah, I know which one that is. So y'all give me a minute here, and I'm going to let you hear something. Now give me a minute. You know, when we have been so used to listening to Caucasian people just tell us whatever they wanted to tell us, they just told us. And we I mean, none of us here. This man just got here 6,000 years ago, and he telling you that millions of years ago dinosaurs was on the planet. Not once did you say, I don't believe that. You ain't never told the white man you didn't believe nothing he said. None of you. You believed everything he told you. He even told you that your people is responsible. They sold you to me. And every whip that got put on our back, and every baby that got cut out of our stomach, and every black man that was tarred and feathered and his body pulled apart, while after they set him on fire and tied him to the horse, that was done by white folks. And somehow you're mad at black people. Because white folks said, he hear me talking. If the Germans talk, if the Jewish community, those who call themselves Jews, if they start talking about Hitler this and Hitler that, and the Germans did this and the Germans did that, don't nobody say nothing. Matter of fact, everybody's eyes start watering. When we black up and start talking about what was done to us by them, everybody gets a frown on their face and anger in their face at us. That day gone. You through getting away with that. It comes with a price now. You're going to find out what it is. So now let's go on here and let you see an example of what I'm talking about. Now, listen, tell me something. What is a
man?
Yes. Say what?
You didn't use your phone, did you?
No, I ain't mute my phone. What's the problem? Look, I mean, this ain't no song I'm singing. I get quiet sometimes because I'm getting ready to do something. Have some patience. You know, I know you're used to listening to people stand up and making speeches to you. People that make speeches, they don't have no pause in the action. But when a person is teaching, man, they have a pause sometime. You got to think if you teaching people. If you making a speech, you ain't got to think. All you got to do is just say your speech. You so used to listening to people making speeches to you that now that you got a man who's standing up in front of you to teach you something, you think that you think it's something wrong with me. Well, I want you tell me something. Some of y'all that's some of you all that's savvy, tell me what is a discussion. What is a discussion? Tell me what a discussion is. I'm doing that for a reason, because it is very important. Let me see what the dictionary say a discussion is. Let me see here. Discussion: to speak with another or others about. Do you know what that means? Do you know the difference between with and to? You don't discuss to people. You discuss with people. That means you ain't the only one. Is that right? But if it's only one person talking and the forum is not open to others to chime in to what you are talking about, then you're not having a discussion. You understand? Now, it says to speak with another or others about anything, any particular thing. And it says to talk over. We talking it over. You understand? To examine or consider in speech or writing. These verbs mean to talk with others in an effort to reach agreement, to ascertain the truth, or to so when you have a discussion, then it's a give and take, isn't it? What if you're trying to brainwash somebody? It's one-sided, ain't it? You want them to do the listening and you do the talking. Is that right? And you don't so much as ask them what they think. You tell them what they think. Huh? You see? And that's why when someone, you notice the minute I start questioning and telling you that there ain't never been no such thing as no dinosaurs, ain't nobody come forth to say nothing. But want to ask me, prove it. You didn't never tell them people to prove nothing. Tell me, bring the bones in here. Let us all look at them. Let's see what they made out of that lasted millions of years. That you dug them up. Pretty good, ain't it? And he don't say nothing. He gave you false knowledge. A weak mind and a strong back. I remember when I was a little boy. Well, not so much a little boy. I was a teenager. I was working with these two brothers doing maintenance work. And this was in the 60s. And they be talking. And he looked at me and said, look, he said, Marvin, he said, the white man's favorite saying used to be, kill me a mule and I'll buy me another one. And kill me a nigger or nothing. And I didn't pay that too much attention. I was a teenager and I of Muhammad's temple or nothing. And I just said, boy, it was pretty bad back then. I thought it was good now. So, I mean, in this movie that was on, kind of put that in perspective. I'll let you hear him say it. And excuse me for, my mind locks down on so many things. And, it's kind of like when you're driving down the highway. When you look on the side of the highway, you subject to see all kind of things that make you slow down and catch your attention and have to say something about it, right? Okay, so, as you look at all of the hurts that has been inflicted on the Black people of America by white people, and then the hurts that have been inflicted on us because of the misteaching of white people to us. Yeah. No one ever taught us in the school system the importance of caring about your own. Nobody taught us that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was one of the first ones. I'm not going to say Marcus Garvey didn't try. Marcus Garvey tried to teach the Black people that we should care about each other. He formed the UNIA, United Negro Improvement Association. Notice he wanted to improve our condition. He wanted to improve our behavior. He wanted to improve our character. And we wasn't ready to be called. You remember in the movie Red Tails, when they was in the bar and the bomber squadron that they had protected invited them in for a drink, and they were sitting down talking with them, and he said, now look, y'all don't like to be called colored, so what do you want us to call you? And they said, Negro. Huh? that was what we wanted to be called. We wanted to be called Negro. And when what you call Black History Month now, when I was growing up, it was Negro History Week. You see, here you know what you have in me and brothers that your elders. You got living history, people who were there, and you treat me and you treated the Honorable Elijah Muhammad like you knew as much as him, and he was some 2 or 3 generations ahead of you. The scriptures even say, "All men for counsel." And in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. I'm so thankful that Allah decided to preserve me. Because people don't know how old I am unless I tell them. And sometimes it helps. Because, folks think if they think you're young and dumb, they say anything in front of you. You'll be surprised what people tell you when they think you kind of stupid. and I don't react. I just let them talk. I say, "Oh yeah." That's you always want people who hate you to underestimate you. It's just like right now, I'm trying to school you. I mean, I'm schooling everybody. Because they already stumbling because they filled with hatred. And when a man is filled with hatred, he can't really think. If he's filled with love, too much of that, he can't think straight. It intoxicates you to a degree. Like anything, strong winds. I tell you what, next time you're going down the road, stick your head out the window. Be doing about 55, and stick your head out the window and see if you can, with your eyes open, and see if you can keep them open as wide as when you was in the car. That strong wind blowing into your eyes clouds your vision. You got to get your head back in there so you can see where you're going. That's what strong emotions do. They cloud good judgment. Huh? That's why, I mean, like I told you, you heard what's his name? The new Speaker of the House, the new Speaker of the Senate, what they call Mitch McConnell. You heard him say basically the same thing President Obama, dysfunctional government, that the people voted for a divided government, but they didn't mean for us to be dysfunctional. President Obama said that 2 or 3 years ago. But you know how we are. We gotta, people that don't have a lot of wisdom, it's because their memory is not very long. In order to maintain wisdom, you have to maintain a good memory. You found out the truth that Mitch McConnell was paying closer attention to President Obama than he let on. It wasn't so much as personal, it's just upbringing. I mean, history teaches that every time a black man got a position, whether it was baseball, Next thing you know, the league was just full of black people. And the messenger told you, white people, that one day he said, you will wish you had helped me get my people out the mud. Why don't you help me get my people up so that we so that we can get someplace to ourselves? And then you ain't got to be thinking that you got to compete against with us or whatnot. Help each other. But he worried that black people he had to try to make Obama a one-term president. He had to try to make Obama look stupid. Because if people find out that the black man got a lot of wisdom, then everybody wants the one that's the smartest to be. I mean, what they call him, no drama Obama. What kind of man you want in the White House but somebody who just because they get upset ain't gonna go crazy? Certainly that's the kind of man you wanted in that position. He's overqualified for it. And I'm gonna tell you something else. And I don't mean this as no affront. I told you, I'm older than President Obama. I'm about 11 years older than that young man. And I done learned a lot from watching him and listening to him. And you notice everybody around him came away better. You know what that says? It says volumes about his character and that God ain't through with America yet. Well, why I say that? Because I mean, look at what he inspired. I remember people used to say Vice President Biden was a loose cannon or whatever. We know that ain't true now. At least ain't no more. And he will make people got sense enough to go on and put him in there. You want to talk all past him, and I'm not trying to run Miss Clinton down. Miss Clinton is a decent woman, but you can't on the one hand say that being Secretary of State gave her experience, but being Vice President, what that give you? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, they tell you and me anything because they done dumbed us down. But anyway, I'm going to leave that alone. But I like Joe Biden. You know, he's down to earth. And I tell you something else. You know, sometimes you need a little drama. If you understand what I'm saying, you know, the man is, you know, sometimes you need I remember I was looking at Star Trek, an episode where Mr. Spock was they got stranded on this planet where Neanderthals that was about 12 feet tall, the place was full of them. And they was the shuttlecraft was crippled, and Spock and them had enough to get them into orbit because the Enterprise, they didn't know where they was. And the Enterprise had been looking for them and the sensors couldn't find them, and they was ordered to leave. And so Captain Kirk told them as they, you know, they told him, you got to, you know, the Starfleet command told him he had to leave and leave that search because they had some kind of medicine that was going to save millions of people's lives, and they couldn't delay getting there with that medicine or whatnot. And so he was going to have to leave Spock, give off his search for Spock now. And so anyway, he left, but he left at the slowest speed that he could leave at, and kept on putting the sensors back to the planet. And so Spock, he told Dr. McCoy and them that they, we have enough to get in orbit, but we ain't got enough to maintain it, and we ain't gonna make no solve. And so they took off and was got to the orbit, and the Enterprise was gone, and Spock was sitting there. They, the orbit, they had fuel, and so Spock, he opened up all of the fuel, and lit it, and left a trail like a comet going behind the shuttlecraft. And Mr. Scott and Mr. Scott asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "Now we're gonna burn up." And Spock just looked at him, and Mr. Scott said, he's the engineer. Some of y'all that ain't familiar with Star Trek, he was the engineer that was over the engines and stuff on the ship. And Scotty said, "A flare, Mr. Spock?" He said, "You sent up a flare?" He said, "Well, good try." Next thing you know, they was going back and burning up in the atmosphere, them getting beamed out of there. And so when they got through and they was getting ready to go off, Dr. McCoy and the captain and Mr. Spock was standing around, and they asked, Vulcans are not supposed to be emotional. And so Dr. McCoy was standing there, and the captain asked Spock, he said, "Spock," he said, "what were you thinking?" He said, and Dr. McCoy said, "That was an emotional outburst that would have brought the house down." And Spock said, "I beg to differ with you, Doctor." He said, "I reasoned that it was reason that I was acting on." And Dr. McCoy said, "So what you saying is that you reasoned that it was time for an emotional outburst?" And Spock said, "Well, that's putting it crudely." But and then them two started laughing. But anyway, that was just saying that there is a time. Sometimes you have to, for effect, if nothing else, have an outburst. You understand what I'm saying? But not when see, a lot of people, they tried to manipulate an outburst from President Obama, and he never did respond. You see, when people are just doing things to purposely make you appear off balance and you react, then that's the same as saying push here and make me act a fool. In other words, they pushing your buttons. And they was really angry with the president because they couldn't push no buttons on him. That's what the problem was. You see? And they know that man is not a fool. That's why you notice every time I start talking about the president, when one of them come in here, even thinking that he is going to run him down, and I really get on a one-on-one with him, you find out that you're dealing with a very shallow person on the other end of that phone. Anytime all of these people trying to make that one man look incompetent, if he was really incompetent, you wouldn't have to try to make him look incompetent. Okay, so I'm gonna let you see here been done to us. I mean, because we just get one pain after another, don't we? Every time one bad thing we hurting here, then something else happen over here that makes us forget about this one here. Is that right? Now let me show you. It's more to that than you think. Come on.
Look around you. Every necromonger in this hall, every one of the legion vast that just swept aside your defenses in one night, was once like you.
Fought as feebly as you. Because every necromonger that lives today is a convert.
Those of you who will right now drop to your knees and ask to be purified.
We will not renounce our faith. Nobody here will do what you ask. This is a world of many people, many religions, and we simply.
And you see, this is an example of people trying to propagate faith by threatening people's lives. I remember when I was in the temple, the minister, Minister Abdul Karim, he was teaching, and he said he was given an analogy that, which is where I got it from. He said that truth and lie went swimming, and lie got out first and put on truth's clothes. And some of the people said, hey, here come truth. And somebody else said, no, that's just lie with. That's what Orthodox Islam is. Anytime you claim to have the religion of peace and you shedding blood to propagate it, you don't have the religion of peace. You have a filthy rag trying to masquerade it as a religion, as a tuxedo. And anybody that can see and smell know that it ain't nothing but a filthy rag. Do you hear what I said? If the best you can do when a person disagrees with you, if the best you can do is threaten their life or take their life, then you can't do nothing. And the reason that I say you can't do nothing is because you think somehow by killing flesh, you kill an idea. The truth person who told it, the truth, as that song say, his truth is marching on. Yeah. You know, so listen to what they say, and you look at America, and you look at what you know, like he said, we have many religions. Well, you find that right here in America, right?
not be converted.
I'll take your soul.
We will do what you ask. This is a world of many people, many religions, and we simply cannot and will not be converted.
I'll take your soul.
Now notice, he said, then I'll take your soul. Is that what he said? And they done gave you the lie. They done lied to you about what your soul is. And all your life, you should already know what your soul is because you've been talking about it. My hand, my foot, my head, my arm, my leg, my behind. Your this, your that. What did God say happened when the breath of life entered into the body that he created? Man became a what? And when the body took, when the mind took up possession, took up residence in the brain, then who did that soul belong to? It belonged to the mind that was in it, huh? Notice he said, I will take your soul. Huh? That's a mind talking to another mind that I'm going to kill this body that you got here. Right? You better listen. Now, I got him bearing me witness here. I didn't write the movie. I'm just interpreting it for you. So listen some more.
Join him or join me. This is your one chance. Take the Lord Marshal's offer and bow.
I bow to no man.
Now, I know you think I'm going to say that's Iblis. No, that's not Iblis, that's Gabriel. Turn to Romans. The 3rd chapter. In the 3rd chapter of the book of Romans, let's read the starting at the 3rd verse. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid. Yeah, let God be true, but every man a liar. I don't bow to no man. What am I saying there? You notice, when you come in here to argue with me, I ask you to show me that in God's word. If you show me in God's word, I bow. If it's just you talking, I don't bow to no man. Every man is a liar but the man of God. And he's called God. He's not called man. Do you understand? The one that the word was with wasn't man. That was God. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. And the word was God. And God said, let us make man in our image. Well, that's been happening all the time. You just didn't know what was talking. The mind that's in you makes the flesh reflect it. As a man thinking. That's why we got to change your thinking. And once your thinking is godly, then the body is going to be made in the imagination or image of how you think. Do you understand? Yeah, it's time to learn the truth. So I feel sorry for white people. I don't feel really angry for them. I feel sorry for them who can't get past the racism and the false, the half-truths that they learn from white people. He's half alive, and he's half dead. That's what the white man is, and that's what you are, who've been taught by him, if you really been taught by him. But from what I see, you ain't been taught nothing. The best, I remember we used to, some of the older people used to say to us, boy, if dynamite was brains, you couldn't blow your nose. Some of the crazy stuff we do. Huh? We didn't learn to be wise. We learned to be fools and to be satisfied with foolishness. And that's why we can go from one generation, and a generation is thought of to be 30 years. You can go from one generation to the next generation and pass nothing on to your children but the same poverty that you grew up in, the same ignorance and the same foolish actions that you had. You drunk beer and got your beer gut and played dominoes and played cards and had parties and got drunk or got high, and that's all you pass on from one generation to the next generation. No matter how much school you get, all the schools of America for black people are the only thing in America for black people is daycare centers. That's all. They ain't teaching you nothing. I know that's insult you. If they done taught you so much, why is your condition still getting worse and worse? Nothing changes. The only thing you can do when the police shoot a black man down, you go out and do the same thing they was doing in the 60s. Go burn up something. When are you going to say it's time for a change? And when you really think it's time for a change, then how in the world is things going to change if you don't change the one who you learning from? You ain't got much sense as the three little pigs. Because when their house got blown down by the wolf that was made out of straw, they didn't go back and build another straw house. They built a stick house. And when he blew that down, they built a brick house. You go back to the same school that messed you up, and you deliver your children up to that same school and same educational system. Who is that with their phone, took the phone off me? They take their phone off mute, and instead of listening to me, what they in here for? Just silly. Well, that show you why it's happening to them. Can't nobody. You reject knowledge. Can't nobody do nothing for you. The scriptures say, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And because you reject knowledge, I will also reject you. The messenger told you the same thing. You know, he said, if I can do anything with you, he said, you are saved. If I cannot, God ain't gonna try. The minute you start telling me you didn't believe that stuff that Elijah Muhammad was teaching, I ain't got nothing to say to you. But goodbye. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the messenger of Allah to you all, to everybody on this planet. And you notice even when the intelligent white people talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They know he taught us the truth. And they know that I'm proving that he taught us the truth. Just like he said I would do. He said, I say, my friend, just a few days, and you will learn that Elijah Muhammad is teaching you the truth. You learning now that he's teaching you the truth. And I've been teaching you this for almost 40 years now. Next year, it will be 40 years. Add it up from 1975 to 2015. You might not know what time it is, but I do. So let me let you hear some more. My man told him, I don't bow to no man. I bow to God, period. He didn't tell him that, but that's basically what it adds up to. I don't bow to lies. I bow to the truth.
He's not a man. He's a holy half-dead who's seen the underverse.
Look, I'm not with everyone here.
He's not a man. He's the holy half-dead who has seen the underverse. Underworld, same thing. You notice he that's from above is above all. So the natural man is under the spiritual man. Do you understand? He's seen the underverse. He's the holy half-dead. Huh? The natural mind cannot understand spiritual things. The natural mind does understand natural things. So he's half alive. Huh? Yeah. He's the half dead. That's just another way of saying he's half alive. Huh? Do you understand? Okay, well, you better come on in here and get what I'm offering you so you can be all the way live. We used to talk like that, you know. That's all the way live. Is that right? Okay. Now let's listen a little more.
But I will take a piece of him.
A piece you'll have.
Now you remember when everybody was talking about Sonny Liston and talking about George Foreman and all them bad boys, and a Muslim got in the ring with them and whooped all of them? Huh? That same Muslim, when they tried to bow and go in the military and wouldn't call him by his right name, he didn't go. Come on, Cassius Clay. Come on. And see, they had the messenger had already told them it was okay as long as they had agreed what he was not going to have to do. But when they didn't recognize him as Muhammad Ali, he said, no, I'm not going. Huh? Okay. Now, watch this. George Foreman was knocking people out. I mean, he was their champion, as far as he was concerned and as far as they was concerned. There's a whole lot of them talking about what they's going to bring Christianity back to the ring. Call him Muhammad Ali. Whooped one of them and told him, what's my name? So, you know, I mean, you can say what you want to, but the Muslims have brought you more, they have gotten more respect for black people than any other group of black people that ever came into your view. Hadn't it been for what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing, there would have been no civil rights movement. That was their answer to try to keep you from listening to the messenger. Now, am I saying this in a vacuum? Or am I saying this in front of the whole world? We on the internet? Live? Okay. Okay. Let's let you see the result of this.
Stop him!
Jürgen, one of my best.
If you say so.
What do you think of this blade?
I think it's a half gram heavy on the back end.
In our faith, you keep what you kill. Take him before the quasi-deads.
Perhaps the breeder would do it. If somebody just asked him. It is a rare offer. A visit inside Necropolis.
It's been a long time since I smelled beautiful.
Let me show you the way.
Hurry! There's a hot offer from...
Yes, that's it.
Now I want you to listen real carefully, else this is gonna slip right by you. So just listen to what happens when he stops it.
Beautiful eyes. Come. 6 Lord Marshals have called this home. Magnificent, isn't it?
I might have gone a different way.
True of us all. Converts, receive mark.
You know what that was representative of? The school system receiving the mark of the beast. You see how they was in perfect line, like your chairs in your schoolroom? The mark of the necromongers. You know, it's just another way of, and necro and negro sound almost the same, don't it? Yeah. And that is the what is the mark of a negro? He's a cheap copy of the white man. White man hates black people, and the negro hates black people. Don't tell me you love black people. Look what you, it's very few of you all. Even when I show you that I'm trying to help you build up the city of Detroit, ain't nobody living there mostly but black people. You won't come forth and help me. If a white man come there and tell you to do it, you'd be falling all over yourself to get the white man. If he would just come up and do it, you would be there volunteering your services and everything else. That is the mark of a Negro. Mark characteristic. You see? Now, you young people listening to me, do you hear any of your parents able to tell you that I'm lying? Black or white? How you gonna tell me I'm lying when you looking at it? You can't get Negroes to help do nothing for black people. Always trying to figure out a way to come up with some little scheme where they can get something for nothing. If he say he gonna help you do something, he wants you to pay him. A father wants to be paid to help his children. That's rich, ain't it? Your people down and you looking to make money off of their destruction. You call yourself men and women? You are a long way from being. I mean, you can go back to the time when they was coming in here pioneering. Man, they'd all get together. The women would cook, make food for them, and they'd go and help their neighbor raise a barn up. Wouldn't ask for no money. Trying to build up them a civilization. Oh, you want to build up as a bank account. You don't care nothing about your people. Even had some of them trying to piggyback on the idea that I had for this want to come and send me a letter. Might send some money to this kind of do this. All they want to do is rob you. I told you, cheap copy of the white man. It's a whole lot of inventions walking around, rolling around here that black people came up with the idea for, and the white man stole it. Sit up and pretend that they care about black people. You ain't heard nobody talk about doing no skating fundraiser in Detroit until you saw me do it, and they saw that I did it, and instead of helping me, we can get us some, we can get some money. Just say we're gonna do this, or say we're gonna do, always scheming. Just always got a scheme going. Just look, receiving the mark right there. Got his juggler, right? This.
They learn how one pain can lessen another.
They learn how one pain can lessen another. The pain of us never having truly been set free was all but erased by these other pains that he inflicted on us. We done forgot all about our freedom because we suffering so many pains that every time we get through one and get one, then to make that one lesser, another one is added. And that makes us forget about what we really need, which is some of this earth that we can call our own, where we can begin healing ourselves. $40 million black people, and we don't have 1 square inch of land that we really can call our own. And the sad part is, he gives you leaders that only lead you back to him. He set up organizations. That's his way of paying the leaders off. Oh, brother, you can get mad at me all you want. Come in here and tell the people that I'm lying. He set up organizations and fund them. Yeah, the NAACP and a whole lot of others. But you bet not say nothing or do nothing that he don't like, or he cut your funding off. I mean, that was an organization supposedly set up for the advancement of colored people. Are you aware that a trailer will never make no advances on its own? It ain't got no motor. If you got a trailer hitched to somebody's motor-driven vehicle, and you talking about we need to catch up and pull up beside him, you ain't never gonna catch up and pull up beside him because it's pulling you. You're never gonna catch up and be equal to white people as long as white people control your knowledge. Isn't that right, white people? Tell them. See, they don't say nothing. You remember when I spanked my baby? Was they there? They there now. They ain't saying nothing because they know what I said is true. There's no way to change that into something else. You know, they've been trying to make lead in the gold for a long time and you ain't gonna do it. You just can't make the truth into a lie. That's why they don't say nothing. I want you to hear something else. Let me see. You heard the part, one pain make you forget about another one. Huh? Yeah. They learn that one pain can erase another. We shall learn it then. You remember when the understand what a pain is. Working a job, and you depended on that check from that job. If you allowed yourself to be dependent on that check from that job that you was working, you went and bought you a house, car, and you feeding your family and stuff off of it. Well, then the mere threat that I don't know if I'm gonna need you after next week, or the mere thought of that job going away is pain, isn't it? You saw an example of that when the senator was questioning Munir. The brother needed that job. He was dependent on his salary, huh? And he began to back away from things that he thought was going to come between him and his job. And then the man pulled the rug out on him anyway. Huh? You done got too comfortable. Why you think I ain't got no house? I ain't afraid of losing nothing. I ain't got nothing. I can put all of the money that you give me into what I told you I want to do for you. Even if I had a house, I ain't had time to be there. So it's no big thing, not to me. Too much work to be done. Just a roof over the head and a bed to sleep in, and I'm satisfied. We'll settle one day. Right now, we pioneer. I mean, the God I serve, he can make a bear go and lay down and go to sleep for a whole season. Don't eat or nothing. He just sleep all season. Be laying there like he dead. Next season roll around, the bear wake up, stretch, and go on about his business. And he think, and I tell you something else. And while he laying there, don't nothing bother him. Now that's a God you can trust. Put you to sleep and don't let nothing come eating at you while you sleeping. Huh? Allah is a mighty wise. He's a mighty wise God. Long way from being what they've been talking about here. I'm gonna let you see one here that tried to come in here and tell us about Allah, tell us about God, and got it all messed up. But you know, when you don't know the truth, you can be told anything. Huh? When you don't know, as the old saying goes, when you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Huh? Yeah. And it's a good example of what you're about to see here. Look at the title of that book there. He says, The Enlightenment. What God Told Me After 1 Million Prayers. A message for everyone. John H. Egan. Now just listen.
Hi, my name is John Egan, and welcome to my book, The Enlightenment. What God Told Me After 1 Million Prayers, a message for everyone. Now, in my previous video, I explained all the events that led up to my enlightenment with God. The 1 million prayers, I said, how long it took me to recite 1 million prayers, and how and where I recited them. But today I think it would be a great idea to bring you into the actual enlightenment with God in more detail. I would like you to understand the God no one understands, the infinite God, the one I actually communicated with during my enlightenment. We as a people never really deal with the infinite. Right from the beginning, when you are conceived, it took 9 months for you to be born. Every hour thereafter starts with 1 minute and ends in 60 minutes. A day is 24 hours. It begins 24 hours. Everything we know and experience has a beginning and an ending. The problem today is that we are not a spiritual people. When it comes to spirituality,
is what he said true? That we, ever since we came into the world, we haven't been dealing with the infinite. Are you aware that your very being is made out of that which is infinite? Your state of being, all of the truth that you possess, are you aware that that truth is connected to infinity? Are you aware that the number system that you think is finite is not, it's infinite? You cannot count to the end of the number system. You can only count to the beginning of a new system of numbers. The way we design this system, here that little 6-day-old baby telling you this, the same man that 600 years ago was telling you fall off the earth. Now he's talking about he knows something about infinity. But he's selling you a book. Huh? Have you understood that the number system had to be designed by God? I mean, the original man is God. You don't hear nobody taking credit for the English language but black man. The white man know he can't claim credit for that language, because everybody gets their language from their father. Or, from their parents. Well, who is everybody's parent? Since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as the beginning of the creation of these new people. Since we fell asleep, well, a sleeper eventually got to wake up. They call it the resurrection day. You in it now. And you notice, I'm waking everybody up to the truth. I am the resurrection and the life. That's what the book teaches you. And since I was told to eat it up and speak with the words that's in it, that's all I'm doing. Now he talking about we haven't been, that's all we've been dealing with is infinity. We just didn't know it. Huh? You ask somebody what's the end of the number system. 1. Ain't all of them always working up to a 1? And once you get back to 1, you start all over again? And you go on into infinity with that, huh? And every time you get to another 1, it's 10 times greater than the last one that you saw. Right? You see? Ain't no sense in you looking for Caucasian people to teach you this. They don't have deep enough knowledge in them to go into this, the depth of our number system and the depth of our language and all of that. with them. They just learned our language. They just now learning that the whole English language is a language of acronyms. They just learning that. We just waking back up to it. Do you understand? You know, we put ourselves under him gave him rulership and dominion. You remember the rabbi, he kind of hinted to it to you. He said that when God went to intervene, the rabbi got with God and said, now look, you told us we could do it our way right? And he chastised God, right? You remember, don't laugh, because over in the Bible, that's what the devil said to Jesus. You done came here to torment us before time? Huh? Jesus didn't say, he as good as said, excuse me, say, hold your peace and come out the man. Right? You see? So it's much that you got to understand. I remember the FBI told the messenger, he said, Elijah, if you had came with this 20 years ago, and they was telling him that in the 40s, he said, or late 30s, he said, you'd been shot outright. He said, but it's time that your people hear this. No man gets a lease on property and don't know when his time. Huh? You think the white man don't know his time to rule the earth is up? That's why all he can do now is offer you bribes to go into the military and all that kind of stuff. He can't force you to go do that. That's why he don't, let's face it. There was a time when he had laws that you couldn't do certain things. He could enforce it on you too. As far as men with men and all that kind of stuff, that's against the law, right? And he forced you. But now, it says, the book says, then shall you be resurrected. You shall return and discern. You'll be able to tell the difference between him who serves God and him who serveth him not. Well, how you going to know that? Everybody going to be set free to do what they please. The truth is being taught, and now you can see people making their choices. Do you understand? You think he's that the president and the Congress and the Supreme Court is somehow done lost their mind? No, they ain't lost their mind. God done took over. And they know it. They know you can't compel religion on people. And you shouldn't. And you should never have tried. Because in this day and time, Allah wants to know what's truly in your heart. And the only way to do that is to set you free to choose what you want to do. But just remember, you make your bed, you weren't going to have to lay in it. Am I clear? Didn't I tell you every whipping always starts with didn't I tell you? It's in the word of God that he told us what he does approve of and what he does not approve of. Were not my messages recited to you? That's just another way of saying, didn't I tell you? All right. Now listen to this man some more.
Most people wander around in darkness. Their spirit doesn't feel anything. Ask yourself, do you even know what your spirit is? Do you even know who God is?
Now he said, ask yourself, do you even know what your spirit is? What if I wasn't up here teaching you? You'd be waiting on him to tell you, and then he'd lie to you. He ain't gonna tell you that the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. And the mind that that word produces in you, that spirit, because it was born of spirit. Huh? And if you get him to come in here, I will be more than happy. Let him see that we played his tape. He played his little spiel. And you get him to come in here, and I will make him back up off of some of that stuff he's saying. Because yes, I know what spirit is. But when you don't know, he can tell you he having a conversation. He and him having a what you call it? I'm gonna let him tell you.
People imagine God himself according to themselves and not as he is in his infinite love. You were made in his image and likeness, but not the one you see in the mirror. People are seeking truth, but looking for it in all the wrong places today.
He said, you were made in his image and likeness, but not the one you see in the mirror. Well, that's half true. Half true. Because it's more to you being in the image of God than this form here. Even though you notice all people basically look the same, but when you get to the black man, you can tell he's different from all other people. Hair and all, especially us. You know, I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that our ancestor, Mr. Shabazz, he experimented with our genes. And our hair that you see kinky now used to be like our eyebrows. And you see black people in India and they hair is straight. Huh? Haven't you thought it's strange? The black man on the continent of Africa, he is different from all the other ones just about. Right? You notice you don't go nowhere and find as much history of building and architecture and stuff as you find on the continent of Africa. The pyramids, the Sphinx, all of those marvels. In whose house? If the black man was the dumbest man, how did he wind up on the richest continent? Think about this. Thousands of years before the white man enslaved us, we wrote about it. Not only did we write about it, we wrote how long it was going to last. And we wrote about coming and sending Elijah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said Allah appeared to him in the person, not in no dream, huh? But in person. And even told you the name that he came in. When he came here, he signed his name W.D. Farad. When he left, he signed his name W.F. Muhammad. And, you know, nobody ever accused the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of mail fraud. Did nobody ever accuse the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of receiving other people's mail? And ain't nobody even thought about when they was writing that letter to Mr. W.F. Muhammad, 4847 Woodlawn. Master Farad Muhammad was gone. W.D. Farad was gone. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he said, I am the second self of God Almighty. I'm the second of the two. And didn't nobody realize that W.F. Muhammad was right there at 4847 Woodlawn. And now you can learn that now. And he opened the mail. And when he knew I was, he told the world that the Savior has arrived. That's right. He was the second self. When he left, he signed his name W.F. Muhammad. So who gave the messenger? The messenger had went under many names. He had been called Kareem, and Master Farad Muhammad gave him that name. You never even thought about the fact that the messenger, the way he worded that, didn't make a lot of sense. When he said when he left, he signed his name W.F. Muhammad. Well, you know, and he told people, he said, he's right up here with me now. Yeah. You got a lot to learn. And can't nobody teach you but me. Because don't nobody know this but me. Now, hear this man on there talking about God this and God that, and he don't, if you question him, ain't nobody question. And they get away with that all the time. People in this world get away with talking about God this and God that, and they talking to people that they know is ignorant. How you know that? Because all them invitations we done sent out, how come they don't accept that invitation and come in here and talk to us? Huh? Because we can talk back. I mean, if you're going to teach me something, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to teach me. You're not going to cram something down my throat and say, you taught me. I don't try to cram nothing down your throat. I teach you. Now, listen to this man. He going to tell you a lot of things. Oh.
Today, through my enlightenment with God, I will attempt to explain who and what God really is and what you will do in heaven someday.
He said he will what? If you know God, what you mean attempt? I'm not attempting to explain God. I'm explaining. And it says, no man knoweth who the Father is, but the Son. He didn't introduce himself as the Son. That's why he have to say he's going to attempt to explain God. Huh? Listen to his words. That what, see, because he's fixing it where you come back and blame him later. He'll tell you, I didn't tell you I was going to attempt. Right? Okay, listen.
I will try to explain God's infinite being by giving you a few examples on how to understand the actual power of being infinite. I'm going to ask you to bear with me for a few minutes and try to imagine this room is filled with typewriters. While you're imagining that, imagine this room is filled with thousands of monkeys. Yeah, let's say monkeys. Now imagine those monkeys hitting the keys to the typewriter constantly all day long. According to computer statistics, typewriter keys are hit randomly for years. They will actually type about 3 or 4 words from Shakespeare's play Hamlet in the right order. Now imagine those monkeys hitting those keys 300,000 years. Now they would be about 8 words in order from the play Hamlet.
What is a sign that he really don't know what he's talking about? He starts talking about infinity, and he thinks, I mean, you start talking about infinity, and then you want to talk about 100,000 years? Well, if you ain't been around here but 6,000 years, 100,000 years seem like a long time. But what about a man who's been around here for 78 trillion years? And I don't say that that's how old we are. How long we've been keeping records. The black man. The Holy Scriptures just refers to the black man as the Ancient of Days. Do you understand? Now, what is 100,000 years? Or what is 300,000 years? What is 1,000,000 years? What is 1,000,000,000 years to a man who's been around here for over 78 trillion years? Infinity. What's another word for infinity? Everlasting. From everlasting to everlasting. Without father, without mother, without beginning of days, without ending of days. That's the black man. Do anybody disagree with me on that? You only know how old we are if we tell, because you just wasn't here. It's just like with my children. They don't know how old I am. They know how old I tell them I am. That's the only thing only y'all know. How many of y'all was here when I got born? How many of you all know when I was born? Then you only know what I told you. And some of the things that make you go, isn't that right? Yes. You know, I was born at home. I wasn't born in no hospital. Even down at the Hall of Records, they only got what my mom and them told them. And you can't ask my mother and daddy. So, this man here talking about measuring infinity in 300,000 years or 1,000,000 years, that ain't no way to talk about measuring infinity. It's like talking about going out in space, measuring space by miles. They don't measure space by miles, measure space by light years, and that. Huh? Do you understand? You know? And now he talking about if you want to compare infinity to something, you get a room full of typewriters and a bunch of monkeys. Now, let's see what he's going to do with the monkeys.
Imagine 2 million years, 100 million years. Even eventually, when you're working in the infinite, those monkeys would type all the parameters perfectly, just like it was written by Shakespeare himself. And in the infinite, this room was filled with thousands of monkeys. Yeah, that's why I said monkeys. Now imagine those monkeys hitting the keys of the typewriter constantly all day long. According to computer statistics, if typewriter keys are hit randomly 1,000 years, they will actually type about 3 or 4 words from Shakespeare's play Hamlet in the right order. Now imagine those monkeys hitting those keys 300,000 for 300,000 years. Now there would be about 8 words in order from the play of Hamlet.
Are you aware that talking about is not fact but conjecture? Huh? Now he's talking about law of averages and that kind of thing as though it's a fact. And it is not. And that's the way you have been taught by white people all your life. That's why the messenger said, and I agree, that any black man or woman who is taught by white people ain't justified to be anything but a fool.
Imagine 1 million years, 2 million years, 100 million years. Eventually, when you're working in the infinite, those monkeys would type all the parameters perfectly, just like it was written by Shakespeare himself. And in the infinite, those monkeys would type Hamlet over and over again infinitely. Now hold on to that concept, and let's take it to the next level. I hope you're beginning to understand just how powerful the infinite is. Now imagine God's universe. People believe the universe is infinite. It's so vast with billions and billions of galaxies out there, just like our galaxy called the Milky Way. But this vast, vast universe is actually not infinite, because if it were infinite, just like those monkeys who would type Hamlet over and over again, in an infinite universe, everything else would have to be duplicated over and over again.
Now, he's saying all these things and just throwing it out there. Are you aware that you have proof all around you that that's not true? You can't even find two of the same. You can look at a leaf off of a tree, and you can't find that leaf duplicated on no other tree around the exact same leaf and shape and all of that. You'll find that it's different. Snowflakes. If you measured the waves at the ocean, ain't no two identical ones. Do you understand? People are born generation after generation. Have you ever seen two with the same set of fingerprints? When Allah said, behold, I make all things new. That wasn't true on no one level. It's true on every level. And what he's talking about, as though the earth was just all of a sudden happened. The earth is no accident. In the beginning, God did what? Created, thought of it, then made it. It just touches on how he did it. It's like I told you. How long do you think it took the mind to learn to teach itself to think of something and that thing didn't happen? Then you have to learn to control. You watch a baby. Every time a baby hear a noise or what, and they do that, or it just, just study moving. You have to teach yourself to hold yourself still. Right? You have to teach yourself not to say everything that you think. Right? And a lot of people ain't never learned that yet. But the thing is, the mind had to learn not to bring certain things. That's why we've learned to separate it, the conscious from the subconscious. Huh? Yeah. And so, this was trillions and trillions of years before we even started counting time, before there was a when or a where. He was God. Remember, the earth, like the universe. Now understand something. The universe is like the woman. The universe didn't start off empty. The universe is just full of matter, even that which looked like space, just like you think it's space between you and me right now, when you know it's not no space between us. Air is between us with all kind of little things in it. Huh? If you don't believe it, just wave your hand and feel something hitting your hand. Space is created by motion. And the most efficient way to create space is to turn. And you notice when you start turning stuff start moving out, making what? Making space. Is that right? Yeah. You gotta, it ain't no accident that the planet is turning. It's no accident that the rest of all of them turning. Huh? Who caused them to turn? What causes the woman's body and the move into a certain position and keep on moving into positions and whatnot? That's automatic pilot there. Do you understand? The messenger said that the universe is like the woman. Things that's hidden from our view out there is gradually being forced into our view to manifest what's there because it was ordered to. Yeah. Just as much as you don't consciously, the woman don't consciously order her eggs to move into position and to ovulate and that kind of thing, but that's done on automatic pilot. That was set in motion. Do you understand? And the universe is like that. And what seems like a long time to the child is just a few seconds. You notice it wasn't young people who came up with the phrase, life is just a fleeting moment. That's something that elderly people say. They look, I mean, I can still remember when from 1960, around 66, when Jim Brown came to speak to the student body at my high school. And I still remember sitting up in the bleachers listening to Jim Brown speak. That was almost 50 years ago. And it seemed like yesterday to me. I mean, time, like everything else, is relative to what you're doing. Do you understand? Time is fast for some, especially if they are working and trying to accomplish something. Then they realize how time just flies. Someone who's not doing anything, time seems to stand still because they standing still. Huh? No one would believe that we are moving 9 times the speed of a bullet that's fired out of a M16 rifle while sitting on this planet here. But the earth is moving over 66,600 and something miles per hour in its orbit around the sun. I can't prove it by us, huh? You sitting on it. That's why it don't say, when you get off, you better know what you're doing to try to get back in. Huh? Yeah. Because even when he gets off of the earth, the moon and everything that got blasted away from the earth, it was blasted away at the same speed that the earth is moving. That's why it's in the gravitational pull that is in the circle around the moon, around the earth. It is trailing the earth. It ain't gonna catch up. The earth would have to slow down for the moon to catch up. Do you understand? And since there's no force forcing it away, then it just towed along. Gravity. Huh? All right. When that rocket gets out there, it's moving at the same speed of the earth already. So if he add a little bit to it, then he speed up. You understand? Like a fly in your car. If you're doing 70 miles an hour, you watch a fly in that car, that fly can go from the back to the front. In your car, flying back and forth, it ain't pressed against no windshield or nothing. Why? Because not just the car is moving that fast, the air in the car is moving that fast. Everything in the car is moving that fast. Do you understand? So it's a lot to be understood. But this man, you get up and they're so busy trying to pick your pocket that they don't care what they say to you. They just want to get that dollar from you. But you better, you know what they say about a fool and his valuables? They soon will part company. So you better listen to me. I'm gonna let you hear him a little more.
That's not God's plan. He didn't want Earth duplicated over and over again. Because if that happened, I, John Egan, would have to be duplicated over and over again.
He don't know what he's talking about. We are going to duplicate the earth. But Allah said, he creates the first creation. Then he reproduces it. But before you start reproducing something, don't you need to complete it? Get the bugs out of it? They don't go and start, well, intelligent to start reproducing before you check out and test what you've done. That's what this world made their mistakes at. You know, they produced a lot of things that wind up being detrimental to them because they didn't take time to see if it was feasible to do. You understand? Which tells me that some them ideas that they had, most of them they stole. They found a lot of things in those tombs or and pyramids and stuff that they've been raiding that they didn't tell you about. They didn't tell you where they got it from. The next thing you know, they just come up with a lot of inventions. You don't live on this earth for 5,000 and approximately 400 years and riding on a horse and buggy. And then in less than 100 years, you went from horse and buggy to flying in space. And you gonna tell me you didn't get no outside help? You lying. And I'd love to have that conversation with them if they would come in here and do it. So, you know, it's like, you know, it's just certain things that when you have an analytical mind, you can add things up by circumstantial evidence, and you know the answer without anybody telling you. You understand? You know, when you know the law of gravity and all that kind of thing, if you shoot a bullet up in the air, do anybody have to tell you that that bullet hit the ground somewhere? And if you're a good enough mathematician, you can look at the angle that it was shot at and know the velocity that it was traveling and know what the wind currents were at that time and whatnot. And you can pretty much tell people where that bullet fell at. Huh? Yeah. And you do it with math. So let's go back here.
And you would have to be duplicated over and over again. God only wanted one of me and one of you. When something is truly infinite, it never, never ends. It goes on and on forever, infinitely. It's immeasurable, subject to no limitations whatsoever. The only thing that is truly infinite is God. Now let's take this concept of what's infinite. What infinite means.
He knocks his own argument down. Because if you say the universe is finite, then where is God? You put him in the universe, you can't put the infinite inside the finite. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you could put him all in the finite, then he's not infinite. Is that right? Now, if the universe is not infinite, then why is it when you look up at night and you look out there where you can see without being blinded by the light of the sun, why you don't see white all out there or something bouncing off of walls to show you where the wall is? Where does it end? We set the whole galaxy that we are in motion, in a circle, traveling in circles, even though you know everything is going in a circle, because even though everything is moving, it stays in the same position relative to one another. Huh? What is the most efficient way to search a large area? Travel in a circle, an ever widening circle. Huh? And that's the way the universe is done. We've been searching for a God other than us. Ain't found him yet. As the messenger said that we searched the universe for that mystery God and came to the conclusion that there is no mystery God. Huh? The very nature of truth is to do away with mystery. Huh? The truth does away with mystery. Allah, he is the truth. It is God. Huh? God over is mind over matter. We're living proof of that. The one that's in control of you, you ain't never seen. You have not ever really seen your real self. Have you? All you saw was the image that your real self is in. Your real self is spirit, mind. Huh? Well then, mind is over matter. And so we know that God is mind. God is spirit. Which one is he? He's the best knower. That's right.
understand the infinite mind of God. Most people ask me what they're going to do in heaven someday. People believe they're going to be in some kind of a church or a temple, singing in the choir with angels. They might feel it gets a little boring. That's because they don't understand the infinite mind of God. There's one difference between the kind of infinite we just discussed.
You notice he ain't mentioned the Holy Scriptures yet. How do you talk about God? How do you talk about medicine and you don't bring the authority, which is the medical books that people are taught medicine from? Huh? You didn't learn about God in no school system that white people set up. You learned about God in the books that the holy prophets brought. Huh? Then how you going to discuss God without the Holy Scriptures? Among men is he who disputes about Allah without knowledge, without guidance, and follows every rebellious devil. Now, he gonna understand the mind of God. Are you aware that the Holy Scripture is a piece of the mind of God? He's given you a piece of his mind. How come he's not, if he want to understand the mind of God, how come he ain't got the Holy Scriptures there? Okay, let's see.
And God's mind is infinite and under control, all at the same time. In heaven, God's infinite mind will show you something wonderful, beautiful, and different every day for all of eternity. Because he is infinite, he's incapable of doing anything less than that. Incapable. Did you understand what I said? Because his mind is infinite and under control, he will put.
What authority is he quoting for what he's saying? I am come to you in my Father's name, and you receive me not. But if another shall come in his own name, well, you can tell whose name somebody come to you in. Whose words is he using? Huh? All right. Now you see why so many people say they don't believe in God. And when you listen to a person like that, I don't believe in what he's talking about. Do you understand? All right.
Do something wonderful every day for all of eternity. You won't be able to take your eyes over him and the wonders he will produce for you eternally. You see, because God is infinite, you will never be able to even of his infinite mind. If something is truly infinite as God is, even the surface is infinite. If something is infinite as God is, you can never get to the other side of what's infinite. This is what you'll be dealing with for all of eternity. If you can love, God can love you infinitely. If you so love your mother and father and your children, God can love them infinitely more than you. If you love yourself, God loves you infinitely more than you can even love yourself. Because God is infinite, he is everywhere. Being everywhere means he is right here, right now, with you and with me. His infinite love is always with you. You can ask God for anything you want, and because of his infinite love for you, he will grant it to you. All you have to do is trust in his infinite love. If you want to be enlightened about your life, if you want to know why you are here today, if you want to know what you must do with this precious time God has given you, if you want to understand God in a way you've never done before, if you want to understand what you will do in heaven for all eternity, or if you're just curious about what someone will do in hell for all eternity, you must pick up this book, The Enlightenment. But God told me after 1 million prayers, a message for everyone. Now thank you, and may God bless you. That's because they don't understand the infinite mind of God.
Well, my man wants to sell you his book. So he gave you his spiel. All right. Now, see if you can get him to come in here and talk with us. All right. His name is, it's a best-selling book by John H. Egan. And the name of the book is The Enlightenment Book by John H. Egan. You see. But it's listening to people that give you their own private interpretation of God rather than listening to his prophets is what's got the world in the shape it's in. People don't worship Allah, they worship their idea of Allah. And that's the problem. You see? And so now Allah have sent me with the truth. He has sent me with the true religion that I may make it overcome the religions, every one of them, all of them. And those who believe that they are a God besides God have an aversion to what I'm teaching. If they have such an aversion to it, why don't they come in here and express themselves instead of running? Let me let you hear something from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He told them, I want to let you hear it. You know, the messenger, he was a wise man.
That's the time. If the Bible teaches you that the devil will have the power over the people to rule until God come and destroy him. This is true. And that God prepared hell for him and the day that he was made. Think over that. Before ever the man was made, hell was prepared for him. Now, if I do that, Christian believer, why you want to go along with it? If his destination is hell. But you say, I don't know when that will be. Neither do you. No one is given that hour, but God himself. And then he passes it over to that angel that you read of in the Revelation that places one foot on water and one on land. The preachers used to fancy in that. Of course, they didn't get too far from the truth. They used to say that the angel would ask God, how loud must that sound? And he'd make it a little fancy. I used to hear my father preaching. And he'd get fancy to it because he didn't know. But today our fancy is renewed.
Now I want you to listen closely to what the messenger said. When he says that today all fancy, all that, like that fella there giving his own spin on God's word and all that, on who God is and you understand him. That's like a baby trying to tell you what's in a grown person's mind. Huh? Yes. They sitting up talking about what grown folks got on their mind. Children. That's what you just got to listening to with that fella I played that selling that book. Okay. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, now, the truth is to shine so clear that you can't claim that there's a cloud between you and it. Then he told you what the cloud is. He said, this is the little boy that's talking to you.
And you notice when you look at the sun look kind of close sometimes to the earth, don't it? It's 93 million miles away from him. Do it. And you look at the clouds get between you and the sun, right? And then the sun really look like a little small white disc, don't it? Okay. But the messenger said, you won't be able to claim there's a cloud between you and it. He said, this is the little boy that's talking to you. He said, there ain't nobody coming behind me. Once the cloud get out the way, then the sun is shine through, right? Well, the messenger said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. Huh? I'm going to let you hear him say it, but I wanted you to understand that he compared himself to a cloud. Now, listen, all of the messengers were clouds that came between you and me. Why? Because, you know, when it's cloudy, you can't see everything as clear as you can when the sun burns the clouds off. Is that right? A cloudy day don't look the same as a clear day, does it? And so, but listen to him, because the scripture even refers to all of the messengers as a cloud of witnesses. Do you understand? Yeah. He cometh with what? Clouds of witnesses. Yeah.
And the light of the must shine so clear that you cannot claim there was a cloud between you and it. This is the little boy that is talking to you now. There's nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that.
Now, what does that say about all of you all? Now, I really want you to do some introspective searching of yourself. Be honest with yourself. What does that say about you who said you believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? How come you ain't looking for the one that he said was coming after him? He said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. And he even told you who the God is. He said, let me see here. I ain't got to make it up.
I'm not turned down.
I want you to listen to this.
Hey, you, I'm Elijah Muhammad, son of man. Not a form to teach us. No one to help us. Hey, on trial before the God. Who will this God be? The Son of Man, both Bible.
And as long as you pay attention to the world's definition of God, you're going to be offended with me. If you start paying attention to the scriptural definition of God, you will know that I'm the one that the word is with. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. You want to keep on going by the false definition of God that you've been getting rather than the one that the scripture give you? Well, that's your fault. That ain't mine. Blessed is he that's not offended in me. So
I know one thing. You ain't gonna get no help from the white man. He shut his mouth at me. And you try to jump behind him all you want. Try to jump behind what he told you, and he deserts you. You can't get him to come in here and argue. Find one, tell him come on in here. Yeah. That's all right. I know I'm what you call this is an effort in futility for most of you, because you rejected the truth. You really don't want. There's a whole lot of people was glad they was in the nation, glad when they heard that the messenger had passed. They had been wanting to get on back into the wicked world that they claimed they was tired of. I know that that's still true. You wish that I would get on out the way. And I'm gonna let you. I tell you what, Sunday I'm gonna prove what I just said. It's late. Did anybody have something they wanted to ask me before I let you go? It's almost 11 o'clock. I'm gonna stop what you call taxing myself, teaching so long when I know that you're not really interested. So I'm starting to see I'll leave that alone. Anybody got something they want to ask me? I want to impress upon you the importance of you who say you with me. I want to impress upon you the importance to pay attention when I'm teaching. There's an old saying that this world have. You don't always get what you pay for, but it is for sure you will always pay for what you get. Many people think knowledge is free. Knowledge is not free. You have to pay for it. And what you have to pay, as the book says in Isaiah, in the 55th chapter, it says, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price." But what you gonna pay for it with? Attention. All right. And you would have never known that if I hadn't shared it with you. You wouldn't have known none of this if I hadn't shared it with you. And yet you listen to everybody but me. So, okay. Right on. All them people you listen to ain't did a thing for you. And everywhere you look, even the building you sitting in here, I put it in for you. Okay. That's how it is. That's how it is. All right. Then I'm going to let you go. May Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's salam alaikum. May Allah's peace be unto you all.
Your conference recording has stopped. Goodbye.